Welcome to what's new in telemetry in the 2025 release wave 1 of Business Central. In this release wave, we added 5 new types of telemetry. And then you think, wait a minute, the agenda says 4. That's because financial reporting got doubled up. So we got uses and changes to that. We've got troubleshooting, client add-ins, ways to troubleshoot server-side certificate validations in HTTP client, and finally, a way to discover if you or your customers use the deprecated soap. So let's get started with this. Any of these already have telemetry samples and, of course, documentation. So the things I'm showing you here, you can find all of that under aka.ms /bcTelemetrySamples. And then you simply navigate to KQL queries, example queries, and then you find all the KQL if you want to do this yourself. So the first type of telemetry is usage of financial reporting. There are 2 types of events, both whether a user ran a report on screen and whether a user ran a report from the request page. Now, why would you like to have or use, what could you use this telemetry for? It might be that you have auditing needs for your company so that you need to know who is actually running a financial report. So that might be a use case here. The first financial report run on screen, you can see the event ID here. And basically it gives you in which environment did it happen, and then the context, like the report row and column definitions of that particular report. And with everything in telemetry, you also know who ran the report if you have set up the user telemetry ID. Related to this is whether the financial report was run from a request page and therefore a user achieved a report as a PDF. And you might think, why would you need a special event with a new ID like this one? Because you already have telemetry for report rendering. That's true, but for financial reporting, it actually makes sense to also log the report definitions used. So this not only will give you that one financial report was run, but which one it was. The next class of signal is about changes to definitions in financial reporting. And there are 3 different types of definitions in place in financial reporting. The first one is row definitions. The second one is column definitions. And these 2 together are combined in a report definition. And for each of these types of definitions, you get like the lifecycle. So whether this definition was created, modified, deleted, or copied. There are also even events for, so copy could also be an import or an export using a configuration package. So I haven't showed that here, but all of that is, of course, documented and in the sample. So I'm just going to show you one example with a row definition. All of these lifecycle events follow the same style. So you can see, again, an event ID, where it happened, and then which definition was modified. For row definition, you would get the row definition code. For column definitions, you would get the column definition code. And for report definitions, you would get the report definition code. So that's it for telemetry for financial reporting. Now, if I forgot to mention that, of course, all the lifecycle telemetry for financial report changes could be useful if you have auditing requirements where you need to log or maybe even get alerted on anyone changing a financial report definition. If you then combine this with changelog on the actual definitions, you both have a way here to be alerted, and you can go back to Business Central and see what actually was changed from what to what. All right, next class of telemetry is troubleshooting client add-ins. This is a blind spot, or was a blind spot until now. And but now you have telemetry on this. Notice that this is logged to the exceptions table. This is a new thing. So not traces, not page views, but exceptions. So client add-ins today can be hard to troubleshoot because, as seen from the Business Central platform or client, a client add-in is basically just an embedded iframe. That's it. And then whatever happens in that iframe until now, the client wouldn't really know about, and you wouldn't know about any errors. But now you do. You can see an exception happening again, in which environment it happened, in which company, also from which app, in which object, and which add-in was throwing the error. And the actual errors are then in more custom dimensions here. Yeah, first of all, you can also see which client type, something about the device, but then a lot of information about the error that happened, the assembly, the outer message, inner message from JavaScript, and all of this is also packaged in a detailed JSON structure, where you even get things like stack traces. So that hopefully that's a way for you to troubleshoot or even discover if there are problems with client add-ins in an environment. So server-side certificate validation is a new thing the platform, the AL runtime, is performing whenever you call from HTTP client in AL, call to an endpoint where the endpoint has a certificate. We will actually validate that. And if that cannot be validated, we'll throw this error and also to telemetry with this new event ID. So again, you can see where it happened, in which extension, in which object, and then some details about the certificate and also the endpoint that was called and whether it was a get or post or whatever HTTP method was called, and a failure reason. So hopefully this will allow you to find these types of errors and then correct them before users call and say what's wrong. The final event that we added here in version 26 or in 2025 wave 1 is whether a customer or an environment is calling, someone is calling into the environment with SOAP, with the SOAP protocol on UI pages that is exposed, or a UI page by Microsoft. This is because these SOAP web services on UI pages by Microsoft, this has been deprecated, and therefore this will be kind of stop working in a later release. So if you want to find out if your environment is vulnerable, not vulnerable, but will be affected by this when it will actually be turned off, you can go check the RT0053 event. And if that's the case, you need to work on whoever is calling. You actually don't know that here. You only know which endpoint they call, but you need to find out some integration is calling this with SOAP, and that needs to stop. That's it for what's new in telemetry. As always, anything related to telemetry is documented here under aka.ms/bcTelemetry. So hopefully these new events will help you troubleshoot and examine your Business Central environment even better than what was possible until now.